Hey everybody, welcome back. I put together a little slideshow here for us. I'm hoping some of these monsters return. We've already seen a couple of them return. I might be wrong about some of these, and there's certainly a lot missing that I couldn't find good pictures for, but a lot of these are variations, or they have variants and things like that. So here we go. We've got the living armor, which was a boss encounter. They could be pretty challenging to fight if you weren't doing a lot of damage. They could kick your butt pretty good. So the Golden Knight and the Silver Knight were found kind of in the dungeons of Bitterblack. I don't know if they were in the base game though. I can't remember. But they could be pretty pain to fight, and they also look really cool. But they're just essentially just skeletons with badass armor. The Hydra, which we saw at the beginning of the original game, and then was found in some of the boss encounter rooms later on. I don't think that we've seen the Hydra yet. The Chimera, which we've seen that in almost every trailer. The Drake, we've seen that a lot. We've seen variants of that, so. The Cockatrice, which we have not seen. This was a particular pain to fight. I really hope it comes back. I hope there's a variant of it as well. I'm not sure what kind of variant they could make, but I'm 100% okay with everything having at least one variant because the monsters in these games are always really cool to fight. Wolves, which hunt in packs. If you weren't aware, they're also weak to fire. They have a variant, which is the dire wolf, which is a little bit more stronger, more challenging pack of wolves to fight, which can be a pain if you're not ready for that. Warg, which I believe are relegated to Bitterblack. They may show up in the overworld after you beat the game and the world's gone to shit, but I don't remember. And I don't know if the wolves variant is the Hellhound, which is I think it's the most frustrating version of the warg or the wolf to fight because they shoot like fireballs at you. They can really take a lot of do a lot of damage. Which if you're, I like to go into things under leveled because it just makes it more challenging. And if you make a mistake, you're dead. So the Hellhounds were always frustrating. But I don't know if the Hellhounds are. I guess it's essentially the same model, right? I don't know. It may be a little different, but I don't know if the Hellhound is a reskin of the Warg, or like or just a wolf. I don't know. You guys tell me. We got the Cyclops, which we've seen that. We've seen armored versions of them. There's also the Gore Cyclops, which I don't think we've seen that. That would be ridiculously gigantic version of the Cyclops. I think it's like 2 or 3 times the size of a regular Cyclops. It's angry and it's just the worst. And the only place I remember fighting it was in Bitterblack, in the room where you get the key or whatever. That room was way too small to fight such a giant ass monster, so I'm sure that'll end up coming back. The ogre, which we've seen that there are variations of the ogre, darker versions. I think there's a gray version. I can't remember. In Dragon's Dogma Online, which I think I'll do a separate video for that, because we have started to see enemies that were in Dragon's Dogma Online that got redesigned and put in Dragon's Dogma 2, so I think that'll be worth making a video on. Daemon, which was the in-game boss for Dark Arisen, he was pretty challenging to fight. It took me a while to beat him my first try. because he has a lot of slick moves that can really just take you out. So I'm hoping he comes back, or a variation of him comes back. That would be super awesome, because he has two forms. So this isn't even his final form. The Gore Chimera, which is just a powered up version of the regular Chimera, more challenging to fight, more edgy Chimera. The Garm, which we saw that in the previous video that I posted, is either that one or the one before that. I refer to it as the Warg, which I want to formally apologize for now, and hope that in time, maybe you guys could forgive me. But these are much larger, quote-unquote, wolf enemies. You can climb on them and things like that, but there's usually about 2 or 3 of them, so it's like mutant wolves on steroids. Goblins, which we've seen plenty of variations of those already. I would say probably like the staple mob for the Dogma series. The Eliminator, which I believe is relegated to Bitterblack Island, found in the depths. Pain in the ass if you're not ready for it. It'll knock you off a ledge and you're dead. So I was worried because the Minotaur footage we've seen, which is amazing for the second game, I was worried that the Minotaur would be replacing this particular enemy, but I need to go back and do a rewatch just for enemies in the footage that we've seen. I'm only going to cover the footage that's high quality, though, because we've kind of seen all that stuff. So if I can't find any evidence of it, I might go back to the other ones. But so yeah, this was he was kind of a pain to fight. There's a lot of these instances where you have these enemies that when you're fighting them, they put you in the situation where it's like, if you mess up, like, you're gonna get kicked off a ledge, or you'll be dead by gravity. But then you've got like the Gore Cyclops, which is this gigantic monster that you're fighting in a room that is nowhere near big enough for it or you. So it's just Capcom being Capcom. So we've got the White, which we just saw recently in one of the trailers. There's also I believe it's like a bishop version of this, which is a all white version of the White. So these can be pretty challenging to fight if you're not leveled appropriately. I never am. I'm always under leveled because I enjoy getting my ass kicked. So it is what it is. The Griffin, which I had to re-record this video because I realized I had spelled Griffin wrong. So I don't know if there is a quote-unquote gore version of the Griffin, like a dark Griffin. My memory is telling me that there was, but I can't remember. I feel like there was a variant of the Griffin, though. Skeleton Mage, which I don't know if we've seen that in the trailers yet. I feel like we have, but I could be thinking of just like something else, like a mage or something. Skeleton Knights, I'm almost 100% certain that we've seen these. Or maybe, I know that we for sure have seen the skeletons. Which skeletons and skeleton knights are, they're basically the same thing, except one has more armor on. So we've got the Golem, which we've seen that. There are metal versions of this. I don't know. The one that we saw, I think it's more of like a brownish golden rock. So these are pretty fun to fight. They can be challenging in the early game, but it's all about getting those little medallions. Some of these names might not be right. I realized I didn't know the names for a lot of these characters or enemies. So some of these might be wrong, but I didn't know what to put, so in some cases this is called the Evil Eye, but I can't remember the other name. I've got a list, so if I get these wrong, I've got another list at the end of this video that we'll take a look at. The Man-Eater, which is like the mimic version of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen version of the mimic from Dark Souls 3 and 2. Were there mimics in 2? I think there was mimics in 2. And then certainly 1. The Gazer, which is like the super gigantic meteorite looking version of the Beholder type enemy. So Death, which is found in Bitterblack Island. It's an enemy that most players will avoid until they can like really do a lot of damage or just cheese him and make him fall off of a cliff and farm him for XP, which I didn't know about until like about a year ago. So the Undead, which this is one of the larger ones, but this one explodes and I believe it causes poison. We have started to see the Undead more in the trailers though, so I'm excited about that. I'm a big Dead Rising fan, so I'm really hoping Capcom does a remake. I would be delighted if Itsuno, which is the director for Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma, I would be delighted if he did a remake for Dead Rising. Saurian, which is your standard lizard enemy, he or she are found, you know, all over the world. Some of them can turn invisible. I don't know if they all can, or if that's a particular variant that does that. I want to say, yeah, I don't think all of them can, but they can be a pain to fight because they're pretty stout. Just got to go for the tail. The Pyrosaurian, I don't know if that's the right name. Again, the list at the end has different variations, so I don't remember where these are. I really don't. I've tried to remember. I have no idea. So I think I'm going to have to go back because some of these I forget about, you know, and I'm like, well, Dragon's Dogma only had so many enemies. And I'm like, I don't even remember some of these, so I need to go back. Your Geosaurian, which is like your buffed up version of the regular Saurian, pain in the butt to fight if you're not ready for it. I think that was the one, those giant ones that are in the sewers in Bitterblack. You got your Harpies, which are just a pain in the butt. Yeah, early game. Several variations of those though. And then the Siren, or the Banshee, I can't remember what the appropriate name was, but these are found predominantly in Bitterblack, so hopefully we see these come back. The Strigoi, which they're a variant of the Gargoyle, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. I don't remember where these are though. I really can't remember. I know the Gargoyles are in Bitterblack, but I don't remember where the Strigoi are. Okay. So here's a list of, from Fextra Life, all of the enemies that were in the original game and then the Dark Arisen expansion. A lot of the enemies are, you know, variants of other things. Some of them are, you know, unique and original, but yeah. So a lot of these we've seen in the trailers, but there's a good amount of them that we have not seen yet. So I'm hoping the ones that we haven't seen pop up in the sequel. I'm sure that they will in some form. So there's going to be a lot of any enemy variation in the second game. I'm really excited about that. So here we've got the Ur Dragon, which is the undead version of the the red dragon that we see in the story, and the community would collectively fight this online. At least this is my understanding of it. So you would go into a room, you would do some damage, and then that damage would be carried over to, I guess, everybody's game that was playing online. So you would fight it, you would do some damage, you know, you would either survive and keep doing damage, or it would kill you, and then everybody would collectively be doing damage until it got to the point where it was really low on health whenever you would come back. And then if you managed to kill it, then you would unlock a reward room, which is kind of below the character shot there. There's like that little torch in the lit up room there. There would be chests that it would unlock that would have like ridiculously good, armor and weapons in there. But it was all random as far as I understood it. So, and then we've got Grigori, which is the main enemy in the original game, and I don't know if the red dragon they were seeing in the trailers for 2 is named Grigori. I don't know if anybody knows yet. I'm hoping that it is, because this is an alternate world for the original game, so I don't know why that wouldn't be. It's just like a, anyway. So I had a lot of fun putting that together for you guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you kind of had a little flashback or something like, hey, I don't remember that enemy, because I certainly had that. But I think the next video I'm going to make is we'll go back and start taking a look at the footage and just kind of scan and see what enemies I may have not noticed, and kind of just take a look at what we may have missed. So the channel's growing more so now than I feel like it has in years. It's probably because I'm putting out videos more regularly now and I don't have a job, but I'm still looking for a job. Capcom's still making, putting out videos, so keep an eye on Capcom. They're releasing really high quality footage. It's an exciting time. I feel like the days are starting to pass by a little quicker, probably because I'm sitting at home and I don't have a job. But but yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. If anything comes out that's new, I'll certainly analyze it and put out a video for you guys. But I just want to say thank you for putting up with me, and I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you in the next one, okay?